Hi there. In today's video I'll be going over this scenario. What if Anakin reached his full potential? We won't be changing too much for the beginning of Anakin's story, and it will start during Attack of the Clones. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing, since it helps the video be pushed out to more people. Now with all out of the way, let's get into the video. We would begin during the fight between Anakin, Obi-Wan and Dooku. They would enter the hangar and Kenobi would be beaten by the Count, and Anakin would save Kenobi, and he would let the Force flow through him, which would let the battle be longer. With Anakin feeling more of the Force than in the Clone Wars and letting the Force take more of his actions, he does a lot better in the fight than in the movie version, and instead of losing an arm, he will get electrocuted into the wall and be knocked out. The fight with Yoda would be the same. Kenobi and Anakin would be saved, and Anakin would eventually marry Padme. Now things from here would be a bit different in the movies. Anakin would meditate more often, and he would think about everything that Qui-Gon Jinn had taught him. He would let the Force guide his actions, which would help him a lot throughout the Clone Wars to plan a lot more strategic plans, leading to even less clones being killed during the war. With his rapid progression, he would gain the rank of Jedi Knight very quickly, and this would put Anakin on Yoda's mind quite a bit, considering his power at such a young age. Anakin would wish to learn more about the Force, so Yoda would give Anakin sacred Jedi texts, which Anakin would learn the Force from and find out much of its power. This time, Anakin would also adopt the apprentice of Ahsoka, and the training would be a lot more easier considering how Anakin is teaching her. Anakin's ability in the Force grows to an insane stage as the Clone Wars progress, which also helps Ahsoka in her training as well. Anakin would be given holocrons and books that only Jedi Masters are allowed to use, but Yoda thought that Anakin needs to know everything so he can reach his full potential much quicker. In the course of the Clone Wars, Anakin becomes more powerful than his Revenge of the Sith self, and would destroy thousands more droids, and once again, his strategies would lead to a lot less clone casualties. Anakin would eventually become a member of the Council and be given the rank of Master, which would have happened much quicker than the canon timeline. Ahsoka's training would be close to completion as the Clone Wars has entered its last half, and Anakin would be on a similar power level to Yoda and Sidious. Anakin would have learned how far the Jedi have strayed from how they were many years ago, and he would try and tell the Council this and get them to change their ways. For all this, Palpatine would know how powerful Anakin has become and knows his manipulations would no longer work, since how far Anakin has committed himself to following the Force and letting the Force guide his actions. Palpatine would try and do manipulations with Padme, but this would be much harder than he first thought. Revenge of the Sith would eventually roll around, and Anakin and Obi-Wan would eventually land on the ship that holds Palpatine, but instead of Anakin and Kenobi rescuing Palps, it would just be Anakin, and Kenobi would search for the ship for Grievous. Anakin and Dooku would come across each other, and they would enter an intense duel, which would be a lot shorter considering Obi-Wan isn't there, and Anakin is much more powerful than his Revenge of the Sith self. Anakin would then kill Dooku, and the movie would proceed as normal, but Obi-Wan would still look for Grievous, and he would find himself outside the control room. Kenobi and Grievous would fight, and eventually Grievous would try to run away, but is stopped by Anakin, and Anakin used the Force to push him towards Obi-Wan. Grievous would try and fight, but would be destroyed fairly quickly, and then the three of them would land the Dreadnought on Coruscant, and the war would be near its end. Palpatine had realised he had very little hope in turning Anakin to the dark side, so he ordered a hit on Padme. The hit failed, and Anakin sensed the attacker, and they tried getting away but couldn't. And then Anakin questioned them, and they would answer saying that there's the Sith Lord in the Senate, since they feared Anakin and didn't want to die. Anakin would tell the Council, and they would use the Force to quieten their minds. Anakin would meditate, and he'd get visions of the future. A future where the Sith Lord kills Padme by a strike of his lightsaber. Anakin would tell the Council, and they would protect the Center by sending Anakin and a few other members of the Council. They would wait a few days until Palpatine made a surprising visit to Padme's home. The Jedi wouldn't let him through, so he killed them very quickly. He would then proceed to the living area, and where Padme would be shocked to see the Chancellor and also a bit scared since she knew what Anakin's vision was. Palpatine would try and come off as a friend, and then he would use the Force to grab his lightsaber and try to strike down Padme. Anakin would have stopped this by using the Force to pull Palpatine's arm away, and Padme would run into the bedroom. Palpatine would try to approach Anakin, but he would have his lightsaber out, and he would walk towards the Chancellor. Enter an intense duel, which would be the most difficult duel either side has ever been in. Palpatine would grab his other lightsaber and would attack Anakin. After a while, Anakin would eventually disarm Palpatine and kill him. Skywalker would contact the Council and they would deal with the Sith Lord's body, and then the war would end by the following week, with the Separatists surrendering to the Republic. The Republic would have achieved peace, and the Jedi would still stand strong, but would revert back to their old ways like the old Republic Jedi. Thank you all for watching. This script took some time on working on, but I'm glad I was able to eventually get it done. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and subscribe so my videos reach out to more people, and have a great day, and may the Force be with you.